Donk Nation, Jax and Janet's greetings and welcome to today's Donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, coming to you. Well, after someone got to clinch something for the playoffs this weekend, but not a good one for the Steelers. Laskers, Gingy here. We want to talk about this 34-17 game where, man, this is the second game. I get the feeling Baltimore's just a better team. I mean, missed kicks won it for the Steelers the first time. Didn't happen this time. How you guys feeling after this loss?
Mutant Gingy in the house, feeling quite somber after the loss, feeling like there was missed opportunities. Steelers playing shorthanded, not playing the best football, losing out on opportunities for the splash plays. 3 fumbles on the ground for the Ravens. None of them go the Steelers' way. Just one of them days, Donkey.
That's fair to say. We had a big-time vet quarterback making mistakes that I expect to see a first-year, second-year pro making. I mean, not getting down with the football, Laskers, throwing a vastly detrimental interception on just a terrible decision. It really felt like some big-time mistakes were made by a veteran that shouldn't be happening at this point.
Lasker's in the house, and definitely I agree. And also, I'm going to apologize immediately in case I do break out at Donkey's mom's house. So I don't have the best internet, but yeah, there's just some bad play all around there.
That's for sure. Gingy, I want to talk about something here. Is this defense objectively just not good?
Didn't play well last week. I know they were down Elliott, really thin in the secondary.
They got smoked in Philly. They gave up a bunch of points against Washington. Looked bad against Cleveland. Couldn't stop the Bengals. Is it fair to now say that there are big problems in this defense?
Big problems on the defense. That starts where the defense was kind of sus all year long, in my opinion. Our philosophy was really based around the pass rush, right? And honestly, when we do see turnovers, when we see the pass rush and the splash plays get home, yeah, it's still not pretty, but it's serviceable. It works to win football games. But when you don't, yeah, it looks like they get really exposed when they don't get those plays to go their way.
So, Laskers, there's a big question here I want to ask you about this, because this Steelers team is clearly built on the variance of football, sacks, turnovers, the other team making mistakes. Is that why for the past, let's call it 6 years, we have seen the Steelers struggle so much when they play that top-class opponent? Is it because we build a team that objectively doesn't stop a team, but hopes for a team to make a mistake?
I definitely think that adds into the fact. I mean, our secondary looked horrible. I mean, and we just really couldn't stop them from running the ball. I mean, it wasn't good.
That's what I want to talk about here. Y'all are talking about the secondary. I want to talk about sticking 8 in the box almost the whole damn game while we watch Derrick Henry run for, what was it, almost 200 yards with 8 in the box the whole game, Gingy. We can say what we want about the secondary. We were leaving the secondary with backups on islands all alone because we wanted to stop Derrick Henry, and we couldn't do it.
Nope. Derrick Henry was not stoppable. And it was classic Derrick Henry. Really gouged us in the second half, I believe. Mm-hmm. Got better as the game went on, wore that defense down, and really played into the hands of Baltimore. Another component that we usually get in one of those games is Lamar Jackson usually really, really doesn't perform up to his standards. And he had one get away from him last week, but for the majority, He was hitting balls downfield. He was not missing guys. Like what we said before, some of our best defense was drop passes, things of that nature. And Baltimore was clicking on all cylinders. Give credit to them. They didn't leave room for those opportunities to sneak back in for the Steelers this time.
Gingy, I'd like to add one. Hold on, Laskers, I got to add one thing. We have one more thing to add to that, our best defense. I don't know if you watched, but the first half, our best play was Mark Andrews mistiming his jump and not being able to get up for the football because he jumped at the wrong time. So we also have to add that now, missed time jumps, into what our best defense is. Just putting it out there.
Got to get home. Pass rush has got to get home for that all to work. Laskers, what do you think?
I just got a funny stat for receiving for the Ravens. Their receivers and receptions went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
That's a way to get it done. This is the game, and I told you, I thought John Harbaugh was going to make a point, and we talked about Gingy. They were going to run the ball, and by them running the ball, the Steelers are going to face the consequence because the Steelers, I think, won the first game because they abandoned the run and let Lamar do too much. They were smarter about it this time. Now, the Steelers still control our own destiny. There are some fun things to talk about in this game, but Gingy, I know we all wanted to say, oh, Russ is great. Russ is great. We've gotten 2 weeks in a row that showed why Denver got rid of Russ. Is it time to worry?
I'm not going to. I mean, you're riding this bus home to the station.
Right? I'm just curious if it's time to worry, because let's be honest here. That dude who played against Philly, that dude who played against Baltimore will not win you a playoff game.
He did not perform at the consistency that we would like, but let me draw attention to this. I know the tone of your voice that you're spelling down. I know the tone of your voice that you're spelling doom and gloom here.
I told you they had to win 2 or 3, Gingy, and they lost them both.
We were tied. We were tied going into score when Russ tried to do too much, got blowed up, and put the ball on the ground.
Yeah,
right?
Tried to play hero ball, which is exactly what he did in Denver and lost them 3 or 4 games by playing hero ball. If he does not put the ball on the ground right there, the Steelers put 7 on the board, we could very well be talking about a game where, the Ravens are playing from behind now. They are going to force Lamar to do too much. They are going to get away from Derrick Henry. However, just simple missed opportunities like that one changed the entire outcome of the game, in my opinion. If you're going to say that, then we just got to go back to the first game and say, Baltimore kicks that field goal, they win the game, and either way we're 1-1. So if we're going to play the damn if and buts game, we're going to play the damn if and buts game.
Absolutely. I mean, that's Baltimore what we're doing here, Donkeys. We're playing ifs and buts. We're going to play it both ways. Nah, dude, we're here objectively looking at what the hell happened. And what the hell happened is Russ Wilson played bad. You look at things objectively with the Steelers all the time, Donkey. That would be
the first thing I would go to. Hold on. I told you before, this is a team that beats bad teams and loses to good teams. You can say what you want. Oh, you don't look at it objectively, Donkey. When was the last time we won a playoff game, Gingy?
Oh, my God. You're the one objectively
avoiding this. You're the one objectively avoiding the facts.
No, I just had a point that I wanted to bring up, Donkey.
Okay,
that's all.
Make it. And the point is, the Steelers' defense were all their money is. And you're just going
off on if, ands, and buts, Donkey. But I'll tell you, if and but. If that play changes, Donkey,
if
they're playing from behind again.
If that play changes, the Steelers still give up a touchdown drive the next time. It's a tie game. The Steelers still give up that field goal. It's still a tie game at half. Ravens still take the lead. Ravens still play from in front. Ravens still win the game by what would it be? Let's give us 7 more points there. Okay, I'll give us 7 more points. Let's go ahead. Give us 7 more points. That's still a 10-point loss, right? So, ifs and buts, that's still a 10-point loss. The objective facts is the Ravens outgained the Steelers on offense. The Ravens had more splash plays on defense. The Ravens were the better team on the football field. The Ravens scored more. They averaged more yards of play. They made more stops. The Steelers' offense scored nothing in the first quarter again, barely anything in the first half. The Steelers made the mistakes this time. The Ravens didn't. That's what you're looking at. This is back-to-back weeks of poor showing by the offense. I'm sorry, we talked about it last year, and we all agreed. You don't score 20 points, that's a suboptimal performance. That's what it was. The defense gave up over 30 points. That's a terrible performance. Not to mention, after the Russ Wilson fumble at the 5-yard line, you give up a 95-yard touchdown drive. Come on now. This team just objectively on defense, outside of a pass rush and hoping for mistakes, they don't do things well. They don't limit opponents' rushing yards. They don't limit opponents' passing yards. What they do is they sack the quarterback and get interceptions. And we can say what we want. That has not been a recipe for success for 7 years. Okay? We can argue for regular season success. And if you want to call regular season success, cool. We'll change I'm not changing what my standard is, which is playoff wins. And that's what this team needs to prove. And these last couple games make that very questionable, in my opinion, Gingy. Laskers, how are you feeling on it?
I mean, I definitely agree. We can't beat the good teams. I mean, we got lucky against the Ravens the first time. Let's see what happens in 2 days against a team that is okay. I mean, they have the record, but they haven't been blowing anyone out.
They're the one seed. They are going to be a good matching point. They're a team that's starting to get healthy, and they still have stuff to play for. So I'll take that. My bigger concern is our other wins are against playoff caliber teams. There's Denver early in the season with a rookie quarterback, so who knows what that's about. And the Chargers, we didn't start beating them till their quarterback, left tackle, and best pass rusher all got hurt. So I'm sorry if I'm a little skeptical here, Gingy, and not trying to paint a happy picture and saying, well, if things went the right way. No, this team made big mistakes. This team couldn't stop them. This team couldn't sustain when they needed to sustain. I mean, hell, Minkah finally gets that turnover we've been asking for a year. And we give it right back as a pick six on just a terrible decision. I mean, Lamar's decision to throw the ball was a bad one. Russ's decision was rookie level, man. And this is what, a 12, 13-year vet?
Yeah.
It's just, these things aren't going to get it done. And we can't even say we actually ran the ball mediocre, I'd say. I mean, we had what? About 20 carries between our running backs, averaging 4 yards a carry? A little over 4 yards a carry?
Najee still not present.
Najee was the better running back this game, 4.9 yards a carry.
Yeah, 4.7.
No, Najee was the better of the two running backs. He actually had a decent game. We just didn't give him the same volume we don't normally give him because we were playing from behind starting in the third quarter because this offense starts slow, this defense starts slow, and when you build holes against good teams, it's hard to climb out. And you can say what you want. That's been the MO of Mike Tomlin teams going on almost a decade now is starting slow. Like the last time we didn't start slow was the Killer Bees, and the Killer Bees were the 14, 15, 16, I think were the seasons of those?
Yeah, sounds right. And Russ has been in the league for 12 years.
That's what I thought, 12, 13, yeah. See, that's and I'm not trying to spell doom and gloom. I've seen some great things from Russ, but man, the more, and I said this, don't judge him till you get 4 games on him. Since we've gotten to that 4 or 5 game mark, there's really only been one good game out of Russ and a bunch of what you saw in Denver. And that has me really concerned because teams know how to play the Steelers. They know what they're looking for. Yeah, we can blame injuries. Yeah, we can blame the fact that George Pickens is the only guy who can make plays. But honestly, Calvin Austin had a good game. He had 65 yards. So the defense is now going to start paying attention to Calvin Austin. Where the hell's Pat Freiermuth?
I don't know. I wanted him to have a breakout last week and didn't see much of him.
No, he didn't do anything. Was it 3 for 16? Yeah, I mean, there's nothing there. Let's talk about the offensive line. Is there really anything good to say there? I mean, they played I guess. They did open some decent run lanes. Russ did some things with his feet that we aren't accustomed to seeing here in Pittsburgh, at least. And that was good to see, some youthfulness out of Russ in the running game. I'm not going to say here and say it was all bad. You saw some good things. You saw some explosive from Russ. You saw him make couple good passes, touch passes that were there. But we also have to blunder that in with the mistakes that were made. And let's just be objective at the end of the day. The yardage wasn't terrible. The yardage wasn't good. The point total, though, was sub average. So I think 20 points in a game is fair to call what you should expect and what should be called average.
Yeah, too many turnovers.
I agree. There's no doubt about it. And you have to take into the fact that the offense also put 7 on the board the other way, which really came through as pain for the Steelers.
Doesn't help an ailing defense.
No, and we weren't really that unhealthy in this game compared to games in the past. I mean, we have all of our edge rushers there. Highsmith was doing his job, but I'm really looking at the defensive line, man. There's a lot of money spent on that defensive line to do a whole lot of nothing this game.
One sack.
One sack. I mean, how much money did we spend to get Patrick Queen here?
Yeah, and didn't put a lid on Derrick Henry at all.
He didn't do anything, and then he's going to come out and say, we all need to get on the same page or do this or that. Dude, you need to make a freaking tackle, okay? That game's completely different if you just tackle Derrick Henry the 3 times you were one-on-one with him in the backfield. I don't know what to say. Laskers, what are you looking at when you get to this Ravens game?
Defense is bad. The defense is really, I mean, yes, we made some costly turnovers, but the defense is who lost us this game.
I can feel that, but and don't get me wrong, I don't think the defense was anywhere near good enough to win this game. I would not fully blame the defense because this is what I'll say. This whole team lost this game. There wasn't an aspect that played great. I mean, I don't think Boswell missed any kicks, but didn't he kick a ball out of bounds? I believe he kicked a kickoff out of bounds, which gave a huge field position. And then Waitman had not his fault, but there's a huge punt return in this game as well. It's just no facet of this team played even above average football in this game. And when you have 3 units that all play average to below average against a good team, you're not going to make it up. And that's what we saw happen in Baltimore this week. And that's what we've seen happen far too often when the Steelers play good teams, in my opinion. And that's all I'm trying to get at here is there's a lot of concern to be had about the direction this team is headed.
If we end up losing the division and have to play the Bills, we're screwed.
I don't think we'll get the 7th seed. I think we might, and I might actually prefer losing the division here, and hear me out on this. I think the Texans are the team I want to play. I don't know why, and I'm not sure about playing them in that dome, but they've lost so many.
Hey, did you see that? Did you see they picked up Deontay today?
Yep, I mean, they got Deontay.
They're going to be so much better.
Not really, because he's a one-for-one replacement for Tank Dell. I'll tell you right now, them picking him up is a good move for them because losing Tank Dell was huge, and they got to find someone to fill that void. But Gingy, Tomlin's always said December football is where it matters, right?
Yeah, here.
December football is when you start showing what kind of team you are, right?
Coming right down to it.
If we lose to Kansas City, this will be the 5th time in the last 7 seasons the Steelers had a 3-game losing streak in December.
That's tough to come down to. Big games in December.
And you want to know
big division games.
You want to know what all 7 of these seasons would have in common? If the Steelers don't do something they haven't done in 6 years?
What's that now?
No playoff wins.
Oh.
It shows that this team, and maybe we should talk about this, is this team fundamentally flawed the way they're built? And that's what I'm trying to get at here is we see these good teams come in December and start get on a roll. You don't see the Steelers do that. You see the Steelers get to December and be weak. I really feel like this idea of, we can just sit back. We can just let the other team make mistakes. We can just let the other team give it to us. I don't think that works, Gingy. And that's why I don't want to sit here and hear all these hooplas. Well, if Russ didn't do this, if Russ didn't do that, because that's what the other teams say when they play the Steelers is, if we didn't turn the ball over, if we didn't do that. You want to know something, Gingy? One of these teams was aggressive and tried to win. One of these teams didn't care. And the reason I'm going to say this is, explain to me how Mike Tomlin goes forward on 4th and 6 at the 50-yard line, down only 1 score, but down 2 scores, 4th and 11, which, by the way, percentages on 4th and 6 and 4th and 11 are very close. I think it's something like 22% to 19%. So you're talking very close in terms of converting on those specific yardages. How the hell did you go for it down 1 score and not down 2 scores with only 10 minutes to go?
Felt like giving up there.
Mm-hmm. It felt like a coach who wasn't coaching to win, Laskers. What the heck?
If I had something to throw at the TV on the 4th and 11 going for it after you went for it on 4th and 6, I probably would have.
Dude, I am telling you right now, the only reason he went for it on 4th and 6 the first time is people gave him so much crap about not going for it against Philly that he wanted to say, see, I do go for it sometimes. But then he proceeded to show that, no, he is who Mike Tomlin is. And it is what it is. And I'm going to be honest with you. He is a great regular season coach that really struggles in the playoffs. And a fan base like Pittsburgh, success is built on what you do in the postseason. We remember people who win in the postseason. Tomlin will always be remembered. He won a Super Bowl. Can't take that away from the dude. But you also can't take away the longest postseason drought in Steelers history since the Pittsburgh Steelers won their first playoff game. And something needs to be done to change that. There is still time to change that this year. But we need to start seeing the things that let you win these games, Gingy. And I don't know. I don't see them right now. And that's where I'm at. And that's where my problem lies.
You're not going to see them because the way that the Steelers wins football games isn't particularly sustainable or consistent.
Yeah, they're built off variance. I agree with you on that. And my question is, Gingy, can they make a playoff run? Not just to get a playoff win, but make a playoff run on a team that's built purely for variance?
That's where you can land on those one and dones, especially if you're not healthy, if the defense has a bad game, if TJ Watt doesn't play all world.
If Russ makes a singular mistake.
Yeah, if Russ isn't absolutely perfect. Yeah.
Think about this. He made 2 mistakes. One of them, though, the defense had Baltimore pinned back and just got it driven down their throat the same way Philly did to end the game last week. Like, man, that's just, as a Steelers fan, knowing that's what the heart and soul of this team is, that's just a hard pill to swallow, dude.
Yeah, it is. That team shouldn't be in that position with that defense. Where'd the pass rush go?
Teams are finally smart enough to realize if you chip TJ Watt every freaking play, Highsmith and Hayward are good enough for a sack, maybe 2 a game, but that's all the Steelers are going to get. That's what I really feel like. Like, watch these last 3 games, and TJ Watt is being chipped more often than I have ever seen him get chipped in his career. I think teams have figured out what we've done on defense, and I'm looking at you, Mike Tomlin, because I'm not going to blame Terrell Austin for this, because he's just a figurehead who was never really a good defensive coordinator anyway. Our defense needs to start doing something different. They need to start finding ways to put TJ in better positions, just like every other team does with their premier pass rusher. Find a way to put your premier pass rusher in a position to win, right?
Yeah.
We need to see it. There's still 1 game to go in this. I mean, I told you, for the Steelers to get my faith this year, when I was close to giving it to them, they had to win 2 of 3. You know what? At least a win against Kansas City will be something. And at least it won't let them clinch the 1 seed. Because I'm tired of watching games where other teams get to clinch something, man. Baltimore gets to clinch their playoff berth. You know what I enjoyed? Knocking Cleveland out of the playoffs. You know what else I would enjoy? Making it so Kansas City has to play that last week for something, you know? Let's not give it to them. Let's not let them clinch on our home turf. Let's have a Christmas Day game to remember. You know, kind of like, I don't know, the stretch. The stretch, man, one of my favorite regular season Pittsburgh Steelers games of all time. Let's give me a memory like that, huh?
Here.
All right, any closing thoughts here about the Baltimore game? Gingy, you first. We'll go to Laskers after.
Oh, missed opportunities. Inconsistent in all 3 phases. Special teams didn't show up either. Bad timing for that.
Undoubtedly. Laskers.
Disappointment. That's all I got.
That is actually the feeling I have, to sum it up perfectly, was just disappointment, man. Because I wanted this not to be that 11-0 season, right? I wanted this team to be for real. We're getting Russ. We're getting healthy. I know we can say the what-if game of players we didn't have playing and all of that fun stuff. But fact of the matter is, it's the NFL. You're never really going to be fully healthy. The guys who are there need to show up. The guys who are there need to get the job done. And the Steelers just are slacking on it right now. And for everyone who's like, well, that Philly team that's an unstoppable force. They went and gave up 34 points and could not stop the Washington Commanders the whole second half. If you watch that last game, it's just why not us? Why can't we be that team that we're the ones with the matchup problems? We're the ones creating the depth. We're the ones that are unstoppable. It really feels like this group of personnel, and I don't know, I'll let you guys go and give your take on this before we get to talking Kansas City. I really feel like this group of personnel, especially with the heavy involvement of early draft picks that's currently on this roster, it feels like this group of personnel, specifically on defense, should be able to produce more than they are.
I agree. Not enough splash plays in the front seven.
Laskers?
Definitely not enough splash plays, period, this season.
We're one of the best in the
season,
NFL at
just that
takeaways.
game. Yeah, just that game.
And points off takeaways.
0 for 3 with balls on the ground. 0 for 3 with balls on the ground in Baltimore.
Yeah, that definitely did not help the case.
Unlucky.
Yeah, fair. That's fair to say. I mean, I don't want to overly beat this dead horse, but this was the 3 games to prove it to everybody that we were for real, and we have one more chance, right? This game against Kansas City is the chance for the Steelers to showcase. We're supposed to get Pickens back. We're supposed to get Elliott back. I don't know about Porter Jr. I mean, suffering another injury on this team is it just seems to be mounting, right?
Yeah.
But we still have a chance here. There's still this Christmas Day game. There's still a chance for the Steelers to come out and showcase what this team is about and where this team can go. So while it's all not happy, and Donkey's not going to have any faith going into the playoffs, like I said, unless it's Houston, it doesn't mean we're done. It doesn't. There's still games to be played. There's still stuff to have. As a matter of fact, we have this Kansas City game right now that we could talk about. All time, the Steelers are 27-14 against the Chiefs. That's 11-5 at Pittsburgh. The Chiefs are currently on a 1-game winning streak here, though. The biggest win in the series history is Pittsburgh 45-0 in 1978. Kansas City's biggest win was 36-10. Last time we played them, the day after Christmas on 2021. So have history of playing them around this time. The longest streak was Pittsburgh at 7 from 72 to 80. Kansas City's longest streak is 3, which they are currently on. As we said, the last game, Kansas City won on Christmas Eve, or not Christmas Eve, the day after Christmas, way back in 2021. So we've never finished the same as they have in the division since last time we played them, because we have the longest possible distance between playing an opponent in your same conference. We are currently on with the Chiefs. So here we stand. Those are the overall numbers. Are we going to go ahead and end this winning streak is what we are here to find out. Give me a little thought of what you're looking into here, Gingy, as the Steelers play the Chiefs.
Ooh, boy. They're going to have to reverse what we were looking at last week. When we're looking at the Chiefs, they are really solid at the end of games. You really want to limit Patrick Mahomes' chances in the fourth quarter. And that defense is going to have to get somewhat of a pass rush home this week. Disrupt the timing. Something going the right our way, right?
Mm-hmm. I was really hoping for they had nothing to play, or that Mahomes' injury was a real thing. But if you watch Kansas City last week, dude, Mahomes ran better than I think I've seen him run in a long time. And unfortunately, New England couldn't hold on to that first half lead to beat Buffalo. So here we are.
Yeah, Kansas City's going to be... they're just well-rounded and dynamic. We're going to have to get out from this stifling... our offensive line needs to protect Russell Wilson. He's getting disrupted quite a bit, forced to do too much, being put in hero mode. In order to make those mistakes, we got to put him in better positions to be successful. I know we talk about this, that with the guys, but listen, this is an offense that truly isn't adequate with George Pickens. Without George Pickens, it's really noticeable, Donkey. That's what I'm trying to say there. And I know that we got guys who are in and out and whatever. And yeah, like we were missing a Donta Jackson on defense, missing an Elliott, right? But those aren't excuses. But with that unit doesn't be honest, that unit didn't look crazy different from what it normally does on off weeks without them, with honest. But that offensive unit looks crazy different without George Pickens. I think the playbook, the way they can set themselves up for plays later. So I'm really hoping to see if that offense can redeem themselves with a little bit more help. But again, inadequate really even with him.
There's one play in particular I forgot to bring up. And Laskers, I'm going to let you lead in with this one. 4th and 6, and we throw a 50-50 ball. We throw just a huck it, chuck it into double coverage, deep ball down the middle on 4th and 6. What in the hell is Arthur Smith and Russell Wilson doing out there, dude?
There were some questionable plays that I just didn't understand why we're chucking it down the field 30, 40, 50 yards when we need 6. It just didn't make sense to me.
No, it just the play call in here is detrimental. And I know people want to talk about the great downfall of Kansas City. Yeah, this team's playing a bunch of close games. They're 14-1. Their only loss was to Buffalo, and I believe that was at Buffalo, right? Or was it at Kansas City? Let me look that up real quick.
It was at Kansas City.
Their only loss was at Buffalo.
It's going to be a lot quicker.
It was at Buffalo. So this is a team that a lot of people want to say, oh, they're down, they're this. They're the 2-time reigning Super Bowl champions. They are 14-1. This team is still that team. This team is still good. Yeah, they have a lot of injuries in this back half of their defense, but their defense still does enough stops. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes hasn't got in the greatest tune with this new cast of characters, but they're still explosive. I mean, they still have Pacheco. Kareem Hunt is still scoring touchdowns. Hollywood Brown just played his first game last week, so another explosive weapon now with Hollywood Brown getting put in there with DeAndre Hopkins. You have Xavier Worthy. You still have Kelsey. You still have an offensive line that even though Tooney had to move out from right guard or left guard to left tackle, which is where we should look to take advantage of, is he's struggling to tackle. But it's still an offensive line that's at least league average, even with all the injuries they've been dealing with. I think they have 4 different starters at left tackle. Patrick Mahomes is still that dude until proven otherwise, right? Gingy, you think it's fair to say you give Patrick Mahomes the Tom Brady treatment at this point, which is he is the GOAT and he's going to beat you until you beat him?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't see any evidence to support anything otherwise.
I mean, when you look at the Kansas City overall numbers, which we'll do here, points per game, they're 11th in the league at 23. Yards per game, they're 13th in the league at 340. Passing yards, they're 12th. Rushing yards, they're 15th. Time of possession, they're 2nd. And don't let that slide by. I know this Kansas City team in the past has been really explosive, but Patrick Mahomes, Gingy, and this is what scares me, he's making that damn Tom Brady move, which is, okay, you want me to beat you by slashing you 100 times? I'm going to slash you 100 times and not force the ball. This transformation for Patrick Mahomes these last 2 years, dude, this scares me what this guy can become because I am watching him do exactly becoming Tom Brady with a better arm. That makes me nervous, Gingy.
Absolutely. Not to be understated, that decision-making skill at the end of games, ice cold, right? The whole squad, it really seems. We're talking coaching top down. We don't talk about them with stupid clock management errors. We don't talk about them with stupid penalties all the time. Now, I might, be off. I don't watch the Chiefs as much as I watch the Steelers.
Their right tackle should get called for a false start about 12 times a game, but he doesn't. Jawan Taylor gets away with that shit and it drives me bananas.
Yeah. So that's a well-oiled machine, right? And they can beat you several different ways. Not everybody has to step up because only 1 or 2 of them have to step up to put a game for you, and that gives them a good good odds and versatility to really be able to beat whatever you throw at them.
They might not have that top tier option, Laskers, but when it comes to depth of options, they might be one of the deepest teams when it comes to just purely solid options. But let's talk about the defense a little bit here for the Chiefs. They're third in points per game at 18, which lets you know how the NFL is played now, Gingy. The third best defense in points per game is almost 20 points a game. That's telling you something. Yards per game, they're third. Passing, they're 17th. Rushing, they're third. Another good running defense here. Maybe we can get it going against them, though. Sacks, they're 34th. Interceptions, they're 13th. But Laskers, you want to talk about the defense here for Kansas City, or would you want to talk on the subject of how deep they are at skill position players?
I want to talk about their running game because their running game scares me after the last 2 weeks where we can't stop a running back. I mean, Saquon, we kind of held.
Bright side, Laskers, none of their three major running backs are averaging over 4 yards a carry this year. So maybe that'd be an advantage for us if they want to try to run it.
It may be, but it also could be a disadvantage. They'll break out and rush 6 yards a carry.
That's fair. Their wide receivers do tend to get things going, but Kareem Hunt's at 3.7 yards a carry, Pacheco at 3.8, Carson Steele at 3.3. None of those guys really huge yards per carry. Mahomes is up there at 5.2. But when you look at that, I mean, you have Hunt and Pacheco as options at running back, Gingy. You get to tight ends, you have it's Kelsey and Noah Gray, both over 400 yards. I think both of their tight ends have more yards than Pat Freiermuth this year. That might not be true. He might be slightly above them. And then you have this deep list of wide receivers: Xavier Worthy, DeAndre Hopkins. Who else is in there? Justin Watson's in there. Juju Smith-Schuster, Mecole Hardman, Hollywood Brown. I name you that list, you're like, okay, DeAndre a few years ago was a superstar. Hollywood Brown's had some good years. Juju's had a couple good years. Worthy's a first-round rookie. Justin Watson's been a decent deep threat for them. You sit there, you look at it, and you're like, but none of these guys is a scare you guy, right? None of these guys is the guy you have to guarantee the double team on. And is that what makes Kansas City so scary? The fact that Mahomes now knows each look which guy he wants to go to because he doesn't have to go to one guy because he has a bunch of solid guys instead of one spectacular and then a bunch of nobodies. Do you think that the lack of a superstar receiver, because Kelsey isn't it anymore, do you think that's an advantage for this Kansas City team, the way they've been playing this year, that they get a little underestimated and get to exploit matchups more often because they don't have that guy you have to focus on?
I don't know if I'd call it an advantage per se, Donkey, but they sure don't know how to roll with the punches when it comes to that being a fact. Right? So they don't have that personnel guy that is just just blow your mind in terms of production and athletic talent. But again, like you said, I agree with you. All the solid guys put together makes it really hard to prepare for any one thing on defense. What are you going to cover? You're going to cover, here, you're going to cover there. And with their coaching and preparation and Pat Mahomes, football IQ, he seems to be, like I said, they could beat you in a ton of different ways.
Yeah, that's fair to put out there. They're a team, when you look at them on defense, really a lot of injuries at the cornerback position. This would be huge for the Steelers to get George Pickens back because they have had a lot of more deep throws given up against them recently than they have any other time. And maybe it's something to take advantage of. You get to special teams. I think they had 3 or 4 different kickers this year. I think Harrison Butker's back. Don't quote me on that, but I believe he's back and playing.
Back.
Okay. They've had all sorts of injuries, but the thing is, when you look at this Chiefs team, Gingy, we'll just go through teams these are the teams that scored over 20 points against the Chiefs this year. Cincinnati in week 2. Okay, we go down. We get Tampa Bay in the first week of November. We have Buffalo the second or third week of November. Carolina, surprisingly, the week after that game. That's the list. That's the list of teams that scored over 20 points against Kansas City. Baltimore scored exactly 20 points. Man, the Steelers offense really needs to do something that few teams have done this year against this Chiefs team, right? Like, we're looking at this game, and I'm talking to you. This team has to score more than 20 points this week, right?
You would think, yes.
So is there something we can look at here in these teams that did it that maybe there's something you can exploit out of Kansas City? And that's what's weird for me is I look at them and a lot of these teams are really good at throwing screen passes. Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, Carolina. I know the Steelers suck at it, but is this potentially a week where the screen game needs to be a positive factor for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Ooh. That's a good question, Donkey. I don't know about the screen game, but I really want. I feel like the Steelers' identity, the way they're built, right? They're not necessarily a team, I think, that prepares according to the other team's strengths and weaknesses, right? Mm-hmm. Mike Tomlin is a guy that's always about, if we play our game, we're gonna win, no matter what. So
standard is the standard.
What I really think is that we're not necessarily paying a ton of attention to that, but it's going to be more about establishing the run game. I'd really, for goodness sake, I am nearly positive that we cannot have a slow start and be successful versus this team. That is something I'm going to be really looking for immediately. And I don't know if you fix that overnight, but I think there's got to be a point of emphasis to not allow yourself to get down by more than 8 points, more than one score.
I believe the Steelers still do not have an opening drive touchdown under Arthur Smith, and I fully am not sure I expected here. Say what you want. Arthur Smith runs the same damn plays he did ever since he was in Tennessee. The difference for Arthur Smith, both in Atlanta and Pittsburgh, while it has been somewhat successful, is Derrick Henry, right? That you need that difference maker in the running back game to run Arthur Smith's system. I was hoping for a little more influx of over-the-middle routes, and we've seen it the last couple weeks after Tom Brady called us out. And by the way, Tom Brady called us out again this week if you listen to the game.
He did.
That he's maybe we should hire him as an offensive consultant because he understands you have to work the middle of the field to loosen things up, and the Steelers don't seem to get that. I really, really am looking for an explosiveness through the middle here, Gingy. I'm talking like screen passes through the middle. I'm talking getting the tight ends involved. It was nice to see Mikael Pruitt catch the touchdown, right, and bash his head right off the pads of the goalpost, which had my son raffle, and he thought it was hysterical to see him headbutt the goalpost. But yeah, you're right. This is a team that I don't know. We're average in everything. We're a little better than average on defense and everything. I hear what you're saying. I don't know, Gingy. How do we do it? How do we find that quick start?
It has to come with play calling. Like you've always said, it's designed. Typically, your first 10 plays.
Your first drives are scripted. Yep.
So then we've got to have a better scripted drive. Which I think honestly leans more into playing into your opponent and their strengths and weaknesses than playing into yourself, which might explain the whole thing.
So, Gingy, knowing what the Chiefs have struggled with this year, is this a game you start with Jaylen Warren? We saw him get more time than Najee last week. Maybe they were trying to hold Warren off and use him as the top dog late in the year. Is this the point of time to make Jaylen Warren the feature back and Najee Harris the change of pace back, Gingy?
I'm starting to lean that way. Donkey, you know me. I've really tried to stick with Najee through the whole thing, but it's getting harder.
Yeah, I hear you. Laskers, Do you think maybe the variance the Steelers need here is maybe we do Jaylen Warren early in the game? And perhaps, because a lot of plays that they struggle with in Carolina is maybe it's some time for some Justin Fields early game RPOs. Not saying put him in there to throw the ball, but they struggled a little bit with the RPOs in Carolina specifically. Could this be a time where that Justin Fields package we've been talking about finally gets a showcase of, let's say, 20% of the snaps in the game?
Well, I would say that's a good idea.
Is Fields out this game too? That would suck.
He might be with the abdominal.
Laskers, you cut out. You there? Did we lose him? No. How am I going to do
We
cash
might be
and trash
down
for Golden
Laskers.
League? All right. We're going to act like we're down Laskers. Gingy, same question. Let's go to you with it.
Terrible to be down Laskers when he's making meta level points, but yeah. I think it could be time to see Warren. I don't know how that's going to work. Is he a premier guy? Is he? I don't know. At this point, let's give it a try, because I don't think that overall, looking at the season as a whole, I would not call our running game a success.
30th in the league's in efficiency. I know we're near the top in terms of yards, but 30th in the league in efficiency, Gingy. That's objectively
I would not call
bad.
that a success. Yeah.
No, that's objectively bad being that inefficient while you're doing something. Laskers, are you back? Yes, no, maybe.
Maybe not.
All right. Well, Gingy, we're going to go ahead. We're going to move on to cash or trash here. We're going to start on the offensive side. No, we'll start on the defensive side of the ball. Let's change things up. I don't have to ask the obligatory one because Minka got the job done, but we will start with splash plays for you. The Steelers really feel like they need to get those turnovers and really win the turnover battle in order to, get to the victory lane, so to speak. This week, the Steelers will force a minimum of 2 turnovers and be +2 in the turnover department. Cash or trash?
Cash it in. If they don't, they will lose. Just like in
fair
Baltimore.
enough. Laskers, if you're back, let us know. If not, point 2 here, Gingy. Defense, splash, pass rush. That's what we've talked about, right? The pass rush needs to get to Mahomes. I'm thinking at least 4 times. You want to cash or trash the front 7 not the front 7, maybe a DB gets one. You want to cash or trash 4 sacks for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
See, I know that the answer is cash. You have to cash it. Otherwise, you got no chance. But man,
the Chiefs
even
are playing with
that,
a left guard at left tackle who really struggled last week. Have to take advantage, right?
Still, though, even saying it out loud, we haven't seen it the last few weeks. Cash it in because I want a Christmas Day dub, but call me skeptical on that.
Okay, Gingy, I want to stick with the pass rush, but I want to stick with calling out Terrell Austin on this one. Okay? Hear me out on this. The Pittsburgh Steelers normally have a middle linebacker who has a bunch of sacks, right? Or a defensive back who puts up a bunch of sacks, right? Over our
we used
history,
to.
that's what we've seen.
Yeah, I was going to say we used to.
We're middle of the league in sacks this year. Maybe it's because we're not bringing enough, patented double A gap blitzes, right? I mean, I look at our middle linebackers. Peyton Wilson, 0 sacks. Landon Roberts, 1 sack. Who else do we have out there? I got to find their names now. Why can't I find Patrick Queen? Patrick Queen, 0 sacks. That is 1 sack from our middle linebackers. 1, Gingy. Through almost a full season, you have 1 sack out of your middle linebackers. This is not the Pittsburgh Steelers we love. Normally, we have a corner or a safety who gets some sacks. This year, let's look through it. The only secondary player who's registered any version of it is Beanie Bishop has half a sack. So that means out of our front 7, we have 1.5 sacks. Gingy, that's not Steeler football. This week, we play Steeler football. not front seven, because the middle linebackers are front seven, the not defensive line outside linebackers this week will account for 1.5 or more sacks, cash or trash, and explain why that's important.
Oh, I'm going to trash that. We haven't seen it so far this season. I haven't seen...
It'd be their total for the year. Yeah, they'd match their total for the year.
I haven't seen DBs blitzing since Mike Hilton left. To be honest with you. Are there any...
Is that part of the problem? We're now predictable?
Predictable on defense. Wow, that was part of the problem on offense. You know, maybe it has slipped into that realm of predictability.
I mean, you think of the great pass rushers, sack guys we had in the middle, man. Lawrence Timmons, Law Dog, always got some. Foot, when he moved into the middle, always got some. Shazier was always rushing up the middle. Vince Williams made a career of crushing up the middle, right? Where is that? Where's our slot guys? Where's McFadden coming off the slot blitz? Where's Polamalu coming down from safety? Where's Ryan Clark moving up and hitting in the box? Where are these things of years past that were successful that just don't seem to exist in this current iteration of the Steelers defense, Gingy? Where have they gone? We have the personnel to do it. Landon Roberts has done it in his career. Patrick Queen was really good at it in Baltimore. Mark Robinson is only a downhill linebacker. Beanie Bishop has only pass rushed 3 times this year and has half a sack on his 3 pass rushes. Why are we not doing it?
Yeah, I have no idea. Doesn't seem to be getting called. I mean, I think we've been very reliant on TJ Watt, perhaps too much when he is an all-world.
Yeah, I hear you. I know our front 5 are good at pass rushing, but sometimes you got to give those guys some help. Now, Gingy, the Chiefs have struggled running the ball this year. The Steelers will continue that trend for the Chiefs and hold them under 4 yards a carry and without a rushing touchdown, cash or trash.
What was that again? No rushing touchdown under what?
Under 4 yards a carry, which is what their season average is for the Chiefs. So we'd just be holding under their average.
Yeah, cash that in. All
right.
I think that we can hold them to their average.
I like it. Gingy, one last one for the defense. We're going to make it a good one. We're going to end on a really, really high note for the Steelers, right? He who shall not be named might get pressed into more playtime this week. He will, in fact, earn his name back once again because he's done it to me once. I let him earn his name back. Christmas present, he gets to earn his name back, right? And I get to send him a terrible towel. Cash or trash?
Woo! Cash it in. I'm in the holiday spirit.
Okay, I like it. I like
it. On defense or special teams?
I don't give a crap where he earns his name back, Laskers. He just has to earn his name back.
That's a good point, Laskers. Let's see it both. Let him have a game.
We got presence of Laskers for like 3 seconds, and he the internet again. Gingy, closing thoughts when the Steelers are on defense.
Disrupting Patrick Mahomes. Being able to capitalize on takeaways. It can't just be takeaways, Donkey. It has to be plus in turnovers. We can't be giving it up to them either. But that's my thoughts on defense.
I would love to say I'm positive about this, Gingy, but I've watched Tom Brady slow and methodical kill the Steelers one too many times for me to believe that Mahomes doing what he's doing right now isn't going to happen. I believe this defense once again gives up over 24 points and gives up at least 3 drives of 10-plus plays that are scoring drives. You want to cash or trash that, Gingy, or half it if you really want.
I'm going to push on points, but no 3 10-play drives. No.
You're right. I should have put it at like 5. That should have been the number. My faith is allowed to be beat. JG, my faith is allowed to be battered after last week because I told you 2 or 3 and now we can't do it. But, let's at least get one. Let's go to the offense side of the ball. Russ learns from his mistakes, right? Russ is the good Russ and not the Denver Russ / last 2 weeks of Pittsburgh Russ. He doesn't turn the ball over. Cash or trash?
Cash it in. More conservative play, better decision making from Russ.
While the offensive line did an okay job last week, the Ravens are great at stopping the run and great at getting to the quarterback. We actually held them below their average. And both of those things, when you look at total numbers, they continue their good play. And Najee gets a little fire in his butt because Jaylen Warren got more carries than him. We get to see Najee take the boatload of the carries, have a 100-yard game, and reach the end zone. Not once, but twice, Gingy. Cash or trash?
Ooh, I don't know about twice, but 101, 100 yards, 1 touchdown's good to me. So we'll trash your statement, but let's look for Najee to have a game. Yeah, let's look for Najee to have a game.
Speaking of guys who are high draft picks who are not performing, Pat Freiermuth, more yards than Travis Kelce? Cash or trash?
Oh, let's hope so. Kelsey's been non-existent this season, so if he's not living up to that standard,
he's still their leading receiver. Just so we're clear, it almost has 1,000.
Is he really?
That's crazy. It is 739.
Oh, never mind. He's not going to reach 1,000 yards unless he goes off against us.
Yeah, no. Cash in more yards for Freiermuth.
All right, Laskers, you're here. We got 2 to go. I'll ask you at least one of them. Steelers wide receivers, if George Pickens doesn't play. You know what? Calvin Austin, 65 yards again. I think that's back-to-back weeks over 60 yards. We'll have another receiver break that 60-yard mark, but maybe more importantly, a wide receiver will put the ball in the end zone this week, Laskers. Cash or trash?
So you're saying it can't be Pickens?
No, it can be Pickens. I was saying if he plays or doesn't play, it doesn't matter to what we're saying.
Okay, it looks like he's going to play. So I'm going to cash that in.
Sounds good. And now let's end the offense with, I don't know how I want to say this. Gingy, the offense scores a first drive touchdown. Cash or trash?
Trash.
I was going to try to make it poetic and sound awesome, and I just couldn't think of words. So we'll just go with that. Laskers, you want to give us your take on the Steelers offense against Kansas City?
So I don't know if you actually heard what I said about Fields, but right now it's not looking good that he's going to play. He was out last week. He was limited in practice. So the RPO that you were talking about, I just don't think it's really going to happen.
Russ ran well last week, so maybe we could just put Russ in RPO at 2. Who knows?
Other than that, hopefully Pickens plays so that we have, another weapon.
Fair. Gingy, Steelers offense. Do they mesh this week?
Yeah, I'd like to see the mesh. I know you cited some stats earlier about December, but I'm really thinking that after these couple of slide weeks that Mike Tomlin's going to have his guys rallied, that we're going to be able to come out of that too. That 3 tough game stretch there with one solid win here on Christmas Day. So here we go.
There are some coaches in this league who give Mike Tomlin fits, and those are coaches who understand offense, maybe, and understand how to be aggressive when the time calls for it. Andy Reid is very much one of those guys. Patrick Mahomes is very much the antithesis of a quarterback who will put the pressure on the Steelers. Can the Steelers' offense rise to the pressure is what the question is going to be. Because I don't expect the defense to play flawless. The offense needs to. I don't see it this week against Kansas City. I think the 2 rookies inside are going to – and I think both McCormick and Frazier have played fine. Not overly spectacular from either one of them, which isn't surprising. I think Frazier is going to be a very average center for his whole career, which is very good to have, a sturdy thing to have in the middle. I think McCormick has some high upside, but I told you I don't think he's a day one starter. I think those guys struggle with Chris Jones. I know Chris Jones had a little injury last week, but it looks like he's going to play. I really feel they're going to struggle there. And then Broderick Jones is going to be stuck on the outside having to do one-on-one because all the help's going to have to be stuck in the middle. That leaves all sorts of bad situations the Steelers could find themselves in out here. I think on offense, they have to find a way to run the ball. I think they actually do be decently successful running the ball. I think they will get over 4 yards a carry. I think they will turn the ball over 2+ times. And I think they will put up under 20 points. Laskers, you want to cash, trash, split on those?
I'm going to cash it. I don't think they're going to score 20 points either.
Gingy?
Trash to that. I don't think that they're 4 yards of carries out of sight, but volume's always good with a touch. I think they're going to have over 20 points. I think the defense is going to try to help them out this week.
I hope you are right on all accords there. Not feeling so sure about that, though. So let's go ahead and you guys, closing thoughts, Steelers, Kansas City, before we get to our picks.
Ooh, looking for a Christmas Day miracle. A solid 14-1 team. They're the only benefit they've got with air traveling to our house on Christmas. Let's hope that we can use that to our advantage. Unfortunately, to be quite honest with you, I don't think we beat this team if they play all out. If they have a flawless game, we are going to need to see some cracks in the armor and take advantage of those opportunities. But I think those opportunities will be present, be able to take advantage of those, and we just need to get those plus takeaways and turn them into 7. That's one of the things that we've really struggled with all season, I feel, was really finishing opportunities that we have, turning 7 into 3, ending up with 3 points instead of 14 on a couple splash plays. Feel like we keep revisiting that throughout the season. We've got to right those wrongs on Christmas Day and have us delivered a little extra Christmas cheer this year for the Steelers fans if we do so.
Fair enough. Laskers.
I think what we need is the defense to show up and stop Mahomes and stop the Chiefs. If the defense doesn't show up, I don't think we stand a chance.
All right, that's totally fair. I can't disagree with anything said there on either of those takes. And hopefully me feeling like my second favorite Christmas movie, The Grinch, does not come to fruition. As we said before, maybe the aspect we're not talking about this is fake football tends to benefit the home team. The shortest amount of time between kickoffs in a 2-game stretch is the Pittsburgh Steelers on this Christmas Day game. You want to know something? Maybe the faker of faker football, Wednesday, the fakest of fakest football, will really benefit the home team. And wouldn't that just be great? Because not only would the Steelers beat Kansas City, Houston would win, and in the fakest of fakest football, we could clinch the division on Christmas Day. Wouldn't that just be a joyous occasion, guys?
That would be joyous. I have a question for you, though, about this game, Donkey, as we start to wrap it up here. Cash or trash for you? Plus or minus? Is it going to be over or under 1 controversial call made by a referee?
Define controversial, because if you're going to say false starts on frickin' Jawan Taylor, it's over by 100.
I'm going to say controversial as a play that people talk about that impacted the outcome of the game. Whether it did or not, but a play that is
over
portrayed.
Or under 1?
That's right. Does it happen or does it not?
I'm going to push, because there's going to be one play that either side, one play, one call, either side's going to bitch about the whole time. Whoever wins, the other team's going to have one call that they're going to say, that's BS, just like the Steelers did with the not offsetting penalties on the Philly loss, right? There's going to be one. Someone's always mad about something, and then someone tweets it, and then the whole fan base gets mad. So I'm going to push right there at you, Gingy. I'm going to push. I like the number you said, and take 1.
Okay, because there always seems to be some of that following this Kansas City team lately as well. Whether it's true or not, that's whatever. But there's always that little chatter.
The Steelers have been up till December, the Steelers have been one of the biggest beneficiaries of if you want to, penalties that lead to points. Okay, the Steelers have been, I think, they're third in the NFL in penalties that have led to points or led to people losing points. It's kind of a cool thing to see, Steelers getting calls. So let's get a couple on Christmas, hey?
Here we go.
I like that. Let's start. Laskers, Baltimore and Houston. Who'd you got?
Give me the Texans.
Fair. Gingy.
Give me Baltimore.
I like Baltimore as well. We got Denver going to Cincinnati in a game that is huge in terms of wild card implications. Who'd you guys like in this?
Gingy, you want to take it first?
Give me Denver.
Woohoo!
I'm echoing that one. I know I need some help, but I got to go with the Broncos on this one.
I like the Bengals in this game. The home game for the Bengals. Joe Burrow is playing ice cold, man. That Denver defense has been suspect the last 3 weeks. You cannot play suspect defense against the frickin' Cincinnati Bengals, dude. We play decent defense, and those butt wipes put up 38 points. Not 38, but 30-something. That team can score. I honest to God, if it wasn't for the fact that the Broncos play the Chiefs when the Chiefs might not have anything to play for, I would be looking at the Bengals as a team to potentially backdoor the playoffs, as they're not playing good defense, but they're playing above terrible defense, which is all they need. And that tells you something. We got another game that's huge for the Miami Dolphins. They're going to Cleveland. Do the Dolphins stay alive in the playoffs? I say yes. I take the Dolphins. Gingy.
Dolphins.
Laskers.
Make it a clean sweep. We're going to take the Dolphins.
And then we're going to go all the way back to the creme de la creme, the opening game for Week 17. The Chiefs are coming to Pittsburgh. The fakest of fake footballs. I got the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Pittsburgh Steelers 24-16. And it's not as close as it looks because the Steelers score a touchdown at the end. That doesn't really matter. Laskers. Oh, wait, I got to give an X Factor, right? Yeah, I don't even know if Juju's playing, but I really wanted to pick Juju as an X Factor, but the X Factor is freaking Patrick Mahomes, okay? That dude is just the X Factor. Gingy.
Let's give it a Christmas Day miracle for the Yinzers. Give me the Steelers 24-20. X Factor Najee Harris.
Well, I'll take holding the Chiefs to 20. Laskers.
Give me the Chiefs 21, Steelers 18. X Factor is actually going to be a Steelers player, because if he does it, I think we'll win. But if he doesn't, we won't. Alex Smith with 2 sacks.
Highsmith is who he said, by the way. I had to decipher that in my headset, so I'll help everybody out. So we have a bonus thing before shout-outs. You have to tell me your favorite Christmas movie, Laskers, before we lose you.
Die Hard.
Fair. Gingy.
Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I just watched it with my kids. He loves the fight scenes. He's now just yelling emotional damage every time someone gets hit, and I'm trying to explain to him that's not emotional damage, but we'll get there. My personal favorite, man.
Great movie.
A Christmas Story. I love A Christmas Story. It is just, you'll shoot your eye out. That's all I can hear every Christmas. Also, the reason my kids will never get a BB gun for Christmas, just anyone's curious. I guess it's time for a shout-out. There's a loss, so I'm going to skip Gingy. I'm going to say, Laskers, do you have a shout-out?
I do not. I can't even think of anyone to shout out after that game.
I do have a shout-out, and it has to go Calvin Austin, man. This kid stepped up a lot in the absence of Pickens. I expected him to really not be able to showcase anything, and he's come out and shown me that, there is a good number 3 receiver in this kid, quite potentially, and I like seeing that. So that will end our shout-out segment, I guess. So that's time to let you know I'm the Viking Donkey. It's Viking_Donkey at Twitch and Twitter. Your daily dose of Donkey Ginger is the fun YouTube channel where you get all this content. Make sure you check out the Bug Cap. Dude's doing awesome. He's really living it up. Dude loves the Steelers more than you can ever imagine. So, give him a little love, listen to him a little bit. They're a lot quicker than if you make it through this whole episode to hear me give a shout out right here. So if you can listen to this for an hour plus, you can listen to him for 10 minutes. That's all I'm saying. Laskers, what's up?
I'm the Laskers everywhere. And if you can't find me, well, too bad. And I should have better internet next weekend, so hopefully it'll sound better. Gingy, to you.
Mutant Gingy in the house. We hanging out. We talking football. We getting ready for a special Christmas Day Steelers game. Everybody get your towels ready. Everybody get that holidays cheer in high
Make
mode.
sure you
Wave
buy
'em.
your Netflix subscription.
Wave them if you got them. Make sure you got your Netflix or your Channel 2 KDKA lined up, you dang yinzers. Here we go, Steelers. Happy holidays, y'all.